Meow?
What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. I finally got my chance to see it. So excited to talk about this. If you guys were looking forward to this movie, if you've already seen it, if you enjoy these reviews, be sure to leave your comments down below and smash that thumbs up button. But let's get right into this. So in Sonic the Hedgehog, a small-town police officer, after discovering a small, blue, and fast hedgehog, must help defeat an evil genius who wants to do experiments on it. That's a fairly simple description on IMDb, so as you all know, this film has been plagued by controversy ever since that first wonderful trailer and that first wonderful look at Sonic that is no more. Rest in peace. Rip old creepy Sonic. But now we have new, awesome-looking, classic Sonic, and, you know, personally, I'm happy they made the decision. Now, hearing what happened to the actual studio that went back and redid the character and how they went out of business and the bankruptcy, that's not good. But the character looks nice. No, for real, let's get into this film, because I was so hesitantly excited for this movie because I knew just from that first trailer, and I'm talking the first legit trailer with our new look at the character, even though he looked better, there were still issues and elements, and it harkened back to movies like Alvin and the Chipmunks and Smurfs, and I'm like, I don't normally love when they do these CGI companions in the live-action setting because normally it falls flat. And I'm here to say this. There are clear issues with this script. This is not as maybe cohesive of a movie as I would want it to be. There are a lot of cliched things. I'm talking lines of dialogue, the poop jokes, the Fortnite dances, the really cringe-worthy things like that. And they shoehorn those in there, and I'm just like, guys, can we refrain just a tad bit? But if you can look past some of the cringe-worthy moments and some of the cliched dialogue and the fact that I just didn't care about the human story, I was here for Sonic. And let me tell you, I really love Sonic in this movie. I thought everything about this character was fantastic, entertaining, exciting. It made me wish he was in a different setting throughout the entire film. And there's nothing wrong with him being in our world, right? That's a cool concept. But the elements of the movie that I didn't like as much were all of the elements that were not Sonic and were not Dr. Eggman, played by Jim Carrey. Now, I'm here to tell you right now, this isn't the most accurate representation of Eggman that you will ever see. This is not Robotnik as we have seen him in the video games before. It's a very similar yet different interpretation. But what I wanted, personally, and we're going that route, I wanted to see Jim Carrey be Jim Carrey in this movie. I wanted to see him have fun in this role. I wanted to see him own his screen time. And even though it was pure Jim Carrey, I loved it. I had so much fun every time his character was on screen. He was hilarious. He was in true crazy Carrey form. Everything I wanted to see. His conversations, his dialogue with Sonic, the back and forth, the good versus evil. I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted to see from this movie. Because I was afraid what didn't work about certain aspects of the film would kind of blend into the rest of the film and kind of rub me the wrong way about the movie. But it didn't end up doing that because at the end of the day, I am pleased to say, I am surprised to say, I had a bit of fun with Sonic the Hedgehog. I did. It falls into the traps that I expected it to fall in. Absolutely. There were times in the film I was kind of rolling my eyes saying, why do we have to include this line? Why is that shoehorned in there? Why can't we just focus on what we all wanted to see? Why can't we focus on Sonic? But when we were focusing on Sonic, and even the relationship between he and James Marsden's character, I was so happy. I was oh so happy. Now, I will say this about the CGI for Sonic. Even though the character design is perfect, it's everything we want it to be, you can slightly tell that they did go back in and change some things. As in, he isn't perfectly animated every time he's on screen, right? He still looks good, but he's not blending in with his environment as well as maybe the old iteration of the character would have because they had more time to perfect that. Once again, this version looks 50,000 times better, and I could care less if it looked like a pure 2D cartoon, okay? As long as we got this version of Sonic, because I'm a diehard video. Like, here is my favorite Sonic game, right here. this is it. This is the one for me. So the fact that we got one that looks more like this and less like this, that makes me happy. Now, Austin, what do you mean when you say cliches? Well, you know, in movies like this, there are going to be the emotional moments where the music swells and they give these heartfelt goodbyes and I love yous and you're my best friends and all of these things that you expect in a film like this. And when it comes to things like that, you can always change up the dialogue just a bit, separate it from other movies in this vein, and it didn't do that. The movie did not separate itself from the tropes that we see in films like this, but what it did have was a really entertaining main character in Sonic the Hedgehog. Some really cool moments with him. Fans, longtime fans, which I consider myself a longtime fan, which is probably why I got so much excitement and enjoyment out of what the character ended up doing in the third act of the film. I mean, oh my goodness, it was so cool. I'm sitting there like, yeah, go Sonic. And everybody else in the audience is like, yeah, go Sonic. It was so great. And then, yeah, don't do what everyone else in my theater did. Try to get up and leave. Stay, because there are 2 mid-credit scenes. Not a post-credit scene, 2 mid-credit scenes. I may do a separate video on that entirely, but you're going to want to stay for that, because that is everything. It's everything as a Sonic fan. So overall, here's what I'll say. I could nitpick this thing to death, and if it wasn't so entertaining and fun, I would be doing that right now. But guess what? I had a good time. I was entertained. Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey, I thought Ben Schwartz was great as the voice of Sonic. I mean, we may have found the perfect guy to play Sonic on the big screen. So I'm actually going to go fresh with my score. This movie surprised me, did not expect it to. Once again, if you guys enjoy these videos, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And a full spoiler review with myself and 3C Films will be coming out tomorrow on the YouTube channel known as Film Strippers. Back to the score. I am going 62%, man. I'm going fresh with this. You know, like I said, there are definitely things I could sit and talk about. They could have made this decision, the dialogue, the script, this and that, but I had a really good time. And that's the only thing that matters. And the most important thing you can do as a Sonic the Hedgehog film, appeal to fans of Sonic, give them nods, Easter eggs, references, all of those wonderful things, and I believe they did that. So I think fans are going to be really happy, and I really hope it brings in some newcomers, and I hope we get a sequel, because there are things that get me excited. You guys the best. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.